Hello, and welcome to Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. I appreciate you joining me today. Today's story is going to make you angry. A beautiful young man lost his life, and despite the fact that police, media members, and the public are confident they know who the killer is, there has been no arrest. Worse yet, the suspected killer has gone on to commit subsequent crimes. This is a story that needs a lot more coverage, and at this point, only by keeping the pressure on, refusing to let this story die, is anything going to be done. This is the story of the murder of Austin Dana Colson and the quest for justice for Austin. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more from me. We have big goals here on the channel, and we need to grow our community if we are going to reach those goals, which include donating money to police departments to get sexual assault DNA kits tested. I need your help because together I know we can do a lot of good. I'm your host, Stacy Lee. Let's begin. Austin Dana Colson was born in Lebanon, New Hampshire, to Dana Colson and Deanna McKinney. This is beautiful New England farm country right near the Vermont border. Austin grew up, as many kids in that area do, milking cows and riding horses, and of course, making maple syrup. Austin was named MVP on his school's basketball team, and he was a star forward on the soccer team. He was very athletic and also did well in school, particularly math. Towards the end of high school, Austin got into competitive fishing and excelled at that as well. This was a great kid with a bright future ahead of him. He was a little shy, but he had lots of friends, and he had a girlfriend, Katie. Katie and Austin met through mutual friends. She was actually Austin's brother's age, and they didn't start dating until Austin's 18th birthday. Katie and Austin spent time hunting and fishing. They adopted a dog together, and life was good. Austin's father, Dana, said Austin was talking about joining the military, but the thought of leaving Katie was hard for him. So instead, Austin started his own house painting business. He started out with used tools he bought at a garage sale, and the business did so well that soon Austin had to hire a few employees. During the winter months, when painting houses wasn't an option, Austin sold scrap metal to make money. He was very entrepreneurial, and he was a hard worker with goals. Katie worked in food service, and the two were building a life together. Austin even purchased a ring for Katie with plans to propose to her. He never got the chance. On January 10th, 2018, Austin asked his dad, Dana, if he could borrow his flatbed trailer to go scrapping. Austin said he was taking someone with him, and this person had a pickup truck. Dana didn't know who this other person was at the time, so Austin took his dad's trailer and went off to look for scrap metal. The next morning, August 11th, Katie woke up around 4:30 a.m. and told Austin she was going to call in sick for the day. Austin told her, "No, you need to go to work." And Katie thought this was a bit strange, as usually Austin would tell Katie to stay home if she wasn't feeling well. But Katie got dressed and went to work around 5:30 that morning. As they always did, Katie and Austin texted each other throughout the morning, but around 10:30, Austin's replies stopped completely. Katie wasn't worried. She thought Austin had just gotten busy and wasn't paying attention to his phone. When Austin took his dad Dana's trailer, he'd left his own car in his dad's driveway because Austin was riding with this friend who had the pickup truck. They were using that truck to pull the trailer. When Dana got home from work that night, Austin's car was still in the driveway. Dana thought the two guys had been busy, maybe found a lot of scrap, and were keeping the trailer for an extra night. He didn't think anything of it, and so he went to bed. Katie got off work at 4 p.m. that afternoon and was surprised when she got home and Austin wasn't there. She started calling him, but his phone was off, and that concerned Katie. Austin never turned his phone off. She got a sinking feeling when the phone kept going right to voicemail each time she called. By 9 p.m. that evening, Katie was starting to panic. She'd quit smoking 6 months earlier, but she really wanted a pack of cigarettes to calm her nerves, and so she drove to the store to get some. After that, Katie drove to her mother's house, and together, the two women decided to call Austin's mom, Deanna, to see if she'd spoken with Austin that day, but she hadn't. And now Deanna was worried as well. Katie and her mom left and went to their respective houses, and Deanna eventually went to bed, but she didn't sleep. Around 4 a.m., she called Dana, Austin's dad, and asked if he'd heard from Austin, and she also wanted to know if Austin had returned the trailer. So Dana got out of bed and looked out into his driveway. Austin's car was still there, and the trailer had not been returned. Dana told his ex-wife that maybe the truck the two guys were in had broken down. Dana wasn't as panicked as Deanna, but he still told her, "You better call the state police." A few hours later, officers from the state police arrived at Dana's house to speak with him. The cops then went to Austin and Katie's apartment, and Katie was in a full-blown panic. She told the police that this was very unlike Austin and that she was concerned. Katie even said she'd been driving around town looking for Austin, but hadn't seen anything that would calm her fears. The police took a report and left. Now, at this point, everyone wanted to speak with the friend that Austin had gone looking for scrap metal with. Who was he? This man, Rich Whitcomb. Rich was then 38 years old. He lived in the area and had become acquainted with Katie and Austin. The police brought Rich in for an interview. He told the officers that yes, he was supposed to meet Austin on the morning of January 11th, but Austin never showed up. Rich had more to say. He told police that Austin was his drug dealer and that he would often purchase drugs from Austin for the purpose of reselling them. He told the police that days earlier, he'd purchased a large quantity of drugs from Austin and had given Austin a gun to hold as collateral in exchange for cocaine. Rich said he sold the cocaine he got from Austin, paid him the money he owed, and he got his gun back. Now, this was, of course, a problem for the cops. Rich Whitcomb has a felony record. He's not supposed to be in possession of a gun, and now he's admitted to buying and selling drugs. After the interview, Rich Whitcomb allowed investigators to take several cell phones from his house, along with ammunition and the gun he used as collateral during the drug deal with Austin. The police went through Rich's cell phones and found that Rich had recently deleted a bunch of text messages on his phones. They also found something very damning in Rich's search history. He had Googled, "How long does GSR last?" GSR meaning gunshot residue. Rich told the police that he hadn't even been in the area on the day Austin disappeared. He'd been in Manchester, New Hampshire, about 100 miles away. On January 16th, Katie, her sister, and some of their friends got together and went out to Downer Forest, which was one of Austin and Katie's favorite hunting areas. Katie thought maybe Austin had gone out there and got stuck, or something else had happened. As the women drove through the forest roads, they saw it. There was Dana's trailer loaded up with scrap metal. Austin was not with it. The trailer was sitting abandoned on a rural road in Sharon, Vermont. The police were called and told the press that the trailer had been discovered, but Austin was not found. They also said that they did not suspect any foul play. Austin's mother, Deanna, told the local press that she was holding out hope that her son would come home, but she was preparing for the worst. Rich Whitcomb was indicted for charges related to the firearm he admitted using in his cocaine trafficking. He was released a few months later and then arrested again for failing to report for probation and then testing positive for drugs. For months, the search for Austin continued. Volunteers spread out through the area, focusing on not just Downer Forest, but surrounding areas. They looked for any sign of Austin, hoping against hope that he would be found alive, but it was not to be. The Vermont State Police scheduled an organized search effort for Austin Colson. Police released information about the scheduled search, asking for volunteers. The State Police Crime Scene Search Team and the State Search and Rescue Teams were brought in on this day to continue the search for Austin. The search began in the morning and continued into the afternoon. And then the call came. As the sun streamed through the tall trees and the spring grass blew in the afternoon breeze, they found him. The remains of Austin Colson were found in a Vermont barn, hidden in a wall at 714 Beaver Meadow Road in the town of Norwich. Everyone knew this had to be Austin, but the remains were sent to the chief medical examiner's office in Burlington, where it was confirmed. Austin had been found. An autopsy revealed that Austin had been shot in the head.
Missing for months, his body found in a barn. New at 5 now. Police say someone shot and killed Austin Colson.
Colson's death certificate lists him as a homicide victim and says he was shot in the head. 19-year-old Colson was last seen in January. He was going to collect scrap metal at that time, but was never seen again. The South Royalton teen disappeared until his remains were found 2 weeks ago in a barn in Norwich. For months, Vermont State Police called Colson's friend, Richard Whitcomb, a suspect in the disappearance. But when asked last week about the case, they did not use the word suspect, and they said instead they want to speak with many people of interest.
Katie Grisoffi, Austin's girlfriend, posted on social media, "I love you more than anything, babe. We were supposed to have kids and get married, and everyone knows we were going to. Someone took that away from both of us, and I'm sorry. I love you, and I miss you more than words can describe." Austin's mother, Deanna, wrote, "You had your whole life ahead of you. You and Katie had so many plans for the future, getting married and having kids. I will always have you in my heart, and I will always love you, and so will everyone else. Rest in peace, my baby boy. Mommy loves you." It's heartbreaking, and I feel sorry for what Austin's friends and family members have had to endure. There was an outpouring of support and grief for Austin's family. Friends set up a GoFundMe to pay for Austin's funeral, and one friend made a wooden cross for Austin that was placed at the barn where he was found. The grief was overwhelming, but then came the anger. People wanted to know more about Rich Whitcomb, and they wanted to know why no arrest had been made. The anger intensified when people began posting on social media things like, "So a drug addict killed a drug addict," and "he was just a junkie kid." Heartless and cruel comments directed at a family who was already grieving. Now, this is the area home to Dartmouth College. It's the area used as the backdrop for the TV show Gilmore Girls. People want to believe that this is an idyllic and wholesome area where people come to see the leaves change. But in reality, the Upper Valley, as it is known, is a somewhat cold and lonely place. Lots of people smoke weed and drink a little too much. The winters are harsh, and there isn't a lot to do when it's cold. And there is, in fact, a drug problem in the valley. Dana Colson, Austin's father, began to talk about this, telling the press that there is a rising problem of fentanyl usage in the area. Opioid deaths rose over 300% between 2014 and 2022. So this is not the idyllic New England area many want to pretend it is. It has its problems just like anywhere else. In the months following Austin's murder, Katie began to use heroin to numb her grief. She later went to rehab and was in recovery when her own sister, pregnant with twins, died of a drug overdose. Then Katie's stepfather was hit by a train and he was killed. So this young woman has experienced a lot of death and tragedy in her short life. And I think it's important to remember, despite what someone has done in their life, it is unconscionable to make statements like, "just a drug addict." That's someone's baby. That's someone's son and someone's future. Katie would later say that she knew Austin was selling weed, but not hard drugs, and that Austin kept his drug usage a secret. Katie said that she knows Austin would have gotten clean had he had the chance and lived the life that they had planned. Anger in the community began to grow when months passed and Rich Whitcomb was not arrested. People began holding vigils and protests, demanding justice for Austin.
Somebody that you never thought in a million years would end up in a situation like this. Very, very sweet boy. Very sweet boy.
It's been 6 months since 19-year-old Austin Colson was last seen leaving his Royalton home for work. His death is being investigated as a homicide, and loved ones want to make sure his case stays a top priority for law enforcement.
We all know what it takes to build a case worthy of our system. We want to make sure it's done right, but also to kind of gently remind them we're not going away. And we really want them to know we're here and we're waiting.
Team Austin rallied in White River Junction to pray and continued their call for justice. At this point, no one has been charged in the case. Police have named Richard Whitcomb as a person of interest, arresting him on unrelated gun charges. Whitcomb was released into a drug treatment center and is now back at home, a decision Austin's father says was wrong and potentially dangerous.
Next step will be getting justice for Austin. As of today, his killer is on the streets, and I would expect, based on what I know, that if he's not put away, he'll kill again.
And for Team Austin, this is about more than just keeping pressure on the investigation. It's about keeping the memory of their loved one alive.
You know, it's a healthy way, it's a healthy outlet, but it's a way to keep his memory fresh in everyone's minds.
Really want to keep Austin's case in the spotlight and make sure that the process continues and ultimately his killer's held accountable.
In White River Junction, Ross Ketchke, NBC 5 News.
Behind the scenes, the police were investigating and they were looking into Rich Whitcomb. People were relieved when a search warrant was executed on his property.
Police just left the scene after investigators spent most of the day executing a search warrant at this property, the home of Richard Whitcomb, the only person of interest in the case. We saw a number of unmarked cars as well as the state police crime scene response truck here on Connecticut River Road in Hartford earlier this afternoon. VSP says they executed several search warrants in the Connecticut River Valley in connection with the Austin Colson case. The 19-year-old went missing exactly 9 months ago today. His body found in May at a barn in Norwich, which allegedly Whitcomb was the caretaker of the property. The medical examiner determined Colson had been shot in the head. Whitcomb has not been charged in Colson's disappearance or his death. We spoke with Colson's mother, Deanna, a little while ago. She is glad police are continuing to investigate her son's death.
They have been behind scenes investigating it for a long time, for all these months. But having this new breakthrough with search warrants at his place, it's really starting to show that they are coming to an end hopefully soon.
Now again, Whitcomb has not been charged in connection with the Colson disappearance. State police are asking anyone with information about the case to call them. Now earlier this afternoon, Austin's father announced on Facebook they'll be holding another Justice for Austin rally on Sunday, November 4th at 1 p.m. on the South Royalton Green. The public is invited to attend. Live in Hartford this evening, Matt Layton, NBC 5 News.
The results of the search warrant have been kept confidential. We do not know what was seized from Rich Whitcomb's property, and to date, no arrest has been made for the murder of Austin Colson. Just last week, the police made a statement to the press. Lieutenant Kinney told reporters, "Yes, we still regularly discuss this case. In fact, we met as early as last week." He said he still speaks with the family regularly, but that it's a hard call for him to make when he doesn't have answers or updates for them. Deanna told the press that she's very happy with the U.S. Attorney's Office. She said she can't go into detail, but feels the prosecutor truly cares about this case and says that she's doing everything she can to prosecute. Lieutenant Kinney said the police have been circling back on old interviews that have led to new interviews. There have been more search warrants executed and more lab testing is being conducted. He feels confident that an arrest will be made in the near future. Rich Whitcomb was arrested again in February of 2023 after he tested positive for drugs and failed to report to his federal probation officer. He was jailed pending further proceedings and was then sentenced to 9 months in prison.
It's back behind bars for murder suspect Richard Whitcomb. According to court paperwork, Whitcomb was sentenced to another 9 months for violating conditions of his release in a federal gun case. Whitcomb is known for being a suspect in the murder of 19-year-old Austin Colson. Colson's body was found in Norwich in 2018. Prosecutors say Whitcomb had access to the barn where Colson's body was found and is likely the last person to see him before he disappeared. Whitcomb has never been charged, though, in connection with Colson's death.
As far as I can tell through the research I did, Rich Whitcomb is now free. Dana Colson, Austin's dad, ran for lieutenant governor in 2022. His bid was unsuccessful, but Dana continues his efforts to better his community. He's now on the Sharon Planning Commission and works as the vice chair of the Sharon Republican Party, working to recruit new candidates for office. Katie has returned to rehab a couple of times, but she's now clean and raising her 2-year-old daughter Chloe in Florida. She posts about Austin from time to time and says that she is working through her grief. If you have any information about the murder of Austin Colson, you are asked to call Lieutenant Tyson Kinney of the Vermont State Police at 802-234-9933. You can remain anonymous. I want to send love to the friends and family of Austin Colson. We want you to know we will not forget about Austin's murder and that we will keep his name alive in hopes that you all receive justice for Austin. Thank you for joining me today on Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. Thank you to my patrons. Your support means everything to me. If you want to join my Patreon, you will get some bonus content that you can't see or hear anywhere else. This is my podcast. It's on Apple and Spotify. I post brand new episodes every Monday and Wednesday. And don't forget about our fundraisers. There are 2 videos on my channel right now that tell you all the ways you can donate to help our community raise money, and 100% of your donation goes to the cause. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day or night. Stay safe, my friends, and be kind to each other. And I will see you next time on Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. Bye.